347-324-3287, 347-324-3287. Voice your opinion. Participate in your future. Become engaged in socio-political events. Say your piece. We are VOCR, the voice of the Canadian Rockers, on blogtalkradio.com. And now, a weekly opinion from Guru Says. Information supplied by tonight's guest or host remain the opinion of the speaker and not necessarily the opinion of the TerraChat network or its affiliates. If you wish to respond to a statement, we invite you to call the show live at 347-324-3287 or email vocr2012@gmail.com. Over the last month or so, throughout the world, there has been a campaign of hate against Israel and Jews. Not since the Holocaust of the Second World War have Jews been persecuted in such a way. Some who shout the loudest claim that Israel is purposefully murdering innocent civilians and children in Gaza. Hamas have executed a powerful disinformation plan, much like the Nazis did against the Jews prior to World War II. Those who protest against Israel, Palestinians, who have escaped to the West for a better life, have brought with them ancient hatred and violence in our cities around the world, claiming their right to destroy our societies and peace in the name of a bastardized religious fervor. In Canada, we pride ourselves of freedom of speech. We encourage citizens to dispute and protest peacefully. But when the peaceful action is broken into violence or hate speech, it is incumbent upon every Canadian and the protective agencies to stand up against their tactics and prevent its vile message from spreading like a cancer. Canada is one of the most peaceful countries in the world, and to hear Palestinian protesters chant Nazi slogans and call for death of Jews and Israel, the line must be drawn. Those who prefer violence to enforce their warped understanding of beliefs need to be rooted out, charged for hate crime, convicted and stripped of citizenship, and then deported. There is no place in the 21st century and a free society for their cancer of hate to exist. There is no place in this world for ancient hate based on race or religion. If you wish to protest, do it peacefully. If you wish to debate, do it respectfully. If you wish to commit violence, then take that violence back to the place you escaped from and see how far that gets you. My God does not demand anything of me. My God doesn't expect anything of me. My God has given guidelines, and it is my free will and choice to follow or ignore. So if you choose to commit violence to prove your points or to show your religious fervor, you do not belong in Western society. Instead of attempting your futile verbal and physical threats, why not return to the land you deserted and to your heart's content commit whatever violence you require to show your deity that life is not worth living? I'm sure our society will be better for your return. I am good. 347-324-3287, 347-324-3287.
I almost scared myself there. Over the last few weeks here in Calgary and around the world, there have been protests and demonstrations regarding the Palestinian issue and Israel. Demonstrations and protests from both sides, I may add. And in Calgary, during a verbal altercation at a supposed peace rally, several Israeli supporters were accosted and their personal space violated, ending up in these people having to attend the hospital for some care. You can check out YouTube and see the last YouTube show, and you'll see the information up there on the screen. Now, let me make this very, very clear. In Canada, accosting anybody because of their speech is illegal. Yet, like the tree that falls in the forest, the police in Calgary have yet to lay any charges on the cam phone perpetrators who choose to escalate peace to violence in the name of some bastardized cause. In Europe, it is of course much more dangerous. Burning of cars and roadblocks, maniacal teenagers looting, all young male adults, chanting words indoctrinated into them as the Lord's Prayer was indoctrinated into Christians, destroying the very fabric of our society, with welcome them with open arms, and attempted to nurture and mend the losses that many had experienced. But to no avail. We opened our homes and we gave opportunities. Is it too late?
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Peace is made by the fact of strength, economic, military, and strategic. Peace is lost when such strength disappears, or just as bad, is seen by an adversary as disappearing.
347-324-3287.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
I'm a United States Senator and a Vice President of the United States for one reason, because I was educated.
John's last-minute economic plan does nothing to tackle the number one job facing the middle class, and it happens to be, as Barack says, a 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
347-324-3287, 347-324-3287.
Yeah, jobs. And over the years, I visited and camped out in a number of internet chat services, in political rooms, of course. And in that time, which is well over a decade, I've yet to find a true discussion and debate about serious issues, pros and cons. Rarely do I hear a Democrat or a liberal calmly discuss with a conservative or New Democrat, or any combination thereof, without some historical insults hurled or slanderous claims of past leaders being slopped around. And in one particular room, when the conversation is turned against the old guard, then it appears like body part and insults and homophobic rant again. If it wasn't so pathetic to hear, I gotta tell you, some of it you could consider it as funny, but unfortunately it's delivered in such a harsh, sick, twisted way that all you can do is just, I don't know, shake your head, I guess. Guess that's all you could do.
But I think the important thing to understand is that we can't enable our population to be under continuous rocket fire. I mean, I just want you to imagine the United States being bombarded, not in one city or 2 cities, but in every city between New York and Colorado. Maybe 20% of the United States would be exempt from this. 80% of your citizens would have to be in bomb shelters or ready to go into bomb shelters within a minute to a minute and a half max. You can't, no country can accept that. We can't accept that, and we'll take the necessary action to stop it.
That Hamas does not care about the lives of Palestinians, does not care about the lives of Israelis or Americans. They don't care about their own lives. They consider dying for the sake of their ideology a way of worship. And how can you continue in that society? Well, Hamas is not seeking coexistence and compromise. Hamas is seeking conquest and taken over. And by the way, Israel, the destruction of the state of Israel is not Hamas' final destination. Hamas' final destination is building the Islamic Khilafah, which means an Islamic state on the rubble of every other civilization. These are the ultimate goals of the movement.
347-324-3287, 347-324-3287.
And as we come out of break, we have on the line with us tonight Joanne from the great state of New York, from New York City. Good evening, Joanne. Welcome back to VOCR.
Well, it's good to be back to talk to you once again. Of course, I was listening, and you did again hit on a few subjects that I would like to have my say about. And
absolutely.
I called originally. I wanted to talk about the violence in the world and have my say about it. But then you started to talk about the chat rooms, and I really want to focus on that for a few minutes because
absolutely,
it's so bizarre. Whether it's the chat room, chat forum, anywhere on the internet, Facebook, all the social medium type people, I don't know why, but they get this full courage because they would never, I believe, be this way face to face with you in a room if you were having a discussion on these subjects. However, because they can hide behind a computer screen, they come out with this violence and anger that takes us all back. You're taken back when you see this coming out of the people.
Yeah.
And this is something that you and I have discussed many times before over the years, and they are vile, and they are foul, and they are full of hate, and they are closed-minded, and just the most angry, bitter people in the world. And the one thing that I never could understand was why. And why I'm asking you this is you and I both know that people that can afford because they don't work, I guess, or have very little responsibility or responsibility they take care of, tend to be the ones that are spending hours and hours in chat rooms. Maybe that's why they're so bitter and full of hatred.
Well, we've talked of this before, and I think of it like a transference, if you will. I think many of these people have got trapped into the chat rooms, and their reality has been transferred. And what I mean by that is, I believe whoever they are in that chat room is almost an alter ego of who they are around their friends and their family. In other words, if they're meek and mild in reality, they're very aggressive in chat. And that seems to fit with 90% of the characters that I've observed over the years. And that concerns me because one of these days they're going to forget which is make-believe and which is real. And once they start believing the garbage that they're spouting, then we're in serious trouble.
Yeah, and maybe they'll forget sometime and point that hatred at someone who'll bop them right in the nose.
Well, it has definitely happened before, I'll tell you for sure. I know of a couple of instances where a couple of these people have met for coffee, and one's ended up on his backside with a bloody nose. And I know a couple of instances of that from the various rooms that I've traveled in. So what else was on your mind? What does New York City think about what's going on?
Oh, it's split like everywhere else in the world. The same thing that you were talking about at the beginning of your show. You have pros and cons on all sides, and a lot of opinions and nothing actually happening from it. But the danger of what goes on with the people behaving like that in these chat rooms and so forth and so on is that you're right. They start to believe their nonsense or think that their opinions are correct on these things. And let's say they come out and they decide that they hate all Jews in the world and are against Israel and they don't care what happens there and blah, 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 blah. I can guarantee you that this is the same person who has never been hurt, never been to war, never smelled death, has never seen death in the context of war, and has no idea what I'm trying to say of what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, that this is all fantasy to them. Well, Colin, it isn't fantasy. It's actually happening. And this being detached in their minds, that this is something I play with in chat rooms or watch on TV, but once I go out the front door, it has nothing to do with me, is the danger that we are suffering from. And trust me, we will all be suffering from it, because this falling apart of society and the economy and the world peace is not going to be something that doesn't touch you people. It's going to end up touching every single one of them. That's what you tell me. What is that detachment? Why can't they figure out that this isn't a arguing point? This isn't a debate in your freshman year at college for a grade.
This is the real world.
Real life and death, right? And they don't get that.
One thing I've come to realize is that because they haven't been to war or they haven't been in those circles, they don't quite understand that with every action that is performed by any military organization, either paramilitary or military, they already know to a certain percentage of the